On my last video, I got a comment from my boy Christian, who was basically asking about how to start a new habit or how to get into the flow of a schedule. Especially now that school's over, that's going to be one thing that is on a bunch of our minds as we try to figure out what we're going to do with our days. I mean, there's a lot of hours within the day, and if you don't fill up that time, you're basically just going to be spending it doing unproductive things, falling into bad habits, scrolling through social media, you name it. So how do you start new goals? How do you stick to these goals and continue them consistently? Because once we start goals, it's easy to just discontinue them and say that you tried, you know? If this is a new habit or a goal that you actually want to incorporate into your everyday life, then it's important to be consistent with it. So I'm not going to give you any direct methods of, oh, here in these 5 easy steps, you can add any goal to your life immediately. That's not really the goal of what I'm trying to do here. Instead, I want to reframe the way that you think about starting goals, starting new habits. One key principle in starting new habits and being able to form them is by setting realistic goals. Don't tell yourself you're gonna play an hour of guitar every day, or you're gonna go to the gym 7 days a week for 2 hours straight if that's not actually what's gonna happen. Instead, you gotta be honest with yourself and set realistic goals that you can actually hit. By setting a goal like I'm gonna play 5 or 10 minutes every day of guitar, or I'm gonna go to the gym 3 days a week rather than 7 days a week, it makes it a little bit easier to wrap your mind around the goal or habit that you're trying to start, or the task that you set out for yourself to do. So if I'm like, oh my god, later in the day I have to set aside a whole hour in order to play my guitar, that is a lot more daunting of a task than say, oh, right before bed or something, I'm gonna pick up the guitar for about 5 minutes. That's a lot easier of a task to manage, and in most cases, you won't end up playing for 5 or 10 minutes. If you're enjoying what you're doing, then you'll end up playing for even longer, sometimes half an hour, sometimes an hour, once you're getting more into the groove of things. But the hardest part is to actually pick up that guitar. Limiting the barriers to entry to do so is key. Therefore, setting a realistic and easily approachable goal is the best way to start. And then if we take the gym for another example, if you go for 3 days out of your week and that's starting to get easy, you can either increase the duration of your workouts or even increase the frequency that you show up to the gym as you gain the momentum and basically build the habit from the ground up. Another benefit of setting your habit formation in this way is that it allows you to build a more stable foundation for that habit. Instead of, say, playing the guitar more spontaneously, maybe say once a week for an hour, that on a timeline doesn't have as stable of a base as consistently playing your guitar for 5 or 10 minutes each day. In that case, you'll be more likely to stick with that habit in the long term and not give up as easily. So to sum it all up, I basically just want you to reframe the way that you think about forming new habits, and it all starts in the definition process. If you really want to achieve your goals and make them work out in the long term, you're gonna have to clearly define them in the beginning, which will make them more achievable in the end. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.